From small towns to big cities, Comcast is connecting millions of Americans to affordable, reliable, and secure Wi-Fi at prices that are clear and consistent with the new 5-year price guarantee. Backed by AI innovation, resilient design, and cybersecurity technology, the Comcast network is built to keep families and businesses connected and their data safe. Learn more about how Comcast is investing in a more connected America at ComcastCorporation.com/investment.
Phillies Therapy is proud to partner with Many Hands Coffee Roasters. From Conchie to Phoenixville, Old City to Fishtown, and even behind Section 114 at Citizens Bank Park, you can find a Many Hands fair trade organic coffee to suit your taste. Whether it's from their Grand Slam iced latte, a double shot Americano, or anything in between, Many Hands contributes 2% of all company proceeds to charity, plus an additional contribution to Phillies charities for all sales at CBP, so you can do good while you sip good. Learn more and shop at manyhandscoffee.com. This episode of Phillies Therapy was executive produced by Adam D., Andrew C., Andrew G., Joe M., Mary R., and Owen S. Thank you all for your support. To learn more about how you can support Phillies Therapy, be an executive producer, or just join our community over on Discord, go to patreon.com/Phillies Therapy. All right, on to the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Phillies Therapy. My name is Paul Boyer. You are listening to us on Monday, June the 8th, most likely, following the Phillies' very, very successful homestand, in which they went 5-1, sweeping the San Diego Padres in 3 games and taking the series from the Chicago White Sox thanks to a rubber match win on Sunday afternoon. The Phillies scored 8+ runs twice in the White Sox series. That is something they had not done in any series leading up to this. They won by more than the margin of a save situation for the first time in exactly 3 weeks. They are 35-30, which matches their high water mark of 5 games over 500 set on Friday. And all in all are looking like a team you can understand. You may not always agree with it. It may not always sit well with you, the way they play, but you can understand it a bit better than I think the April version showed all of us. Aaron Nola struggled again, but the offense finally bailed out a bad starting effort. Twice in the same series, actually. That's something that had been missing for a while, the offense actually coming to the aid of starters when they didn't have their best stuff. That's a separate point. So here we sit. The team is 35-30. They now embark on a tough road trip, 3 games in Toronto, 3 games in Milwaukee against a couple talented teams. And with that, let me bring in my co-host, who is home from the park after spending a lovely Sunday afternoon watching a slog of a game that took forever, but it didn't win, so who cares? He is the Athletics Phillies beat writer, Mr. Matt Gill. Matt, hello. This team, do you agree with me that this team is a bit more understandable now here in early June than it was, 5 weeks ago?
Maybe, yeah. I think in some regards, yes. In other respects, maybe not. I think there's still some mystifying things happening, with some of the hitters in the lineup, Trey Turner, to name one. But yeah, Paul, I think that we're seeing a more complete version of this team. We know what its flaws are, and it doesn't feel like every single thing is going against them. Only a few things are. Some things are even going their way. And so I think you're getting a clearer picture of what they are. I think that is a fair assessment. They're back on an 87 win pace, which may not sound like a lot because I think people going into the season, had big expectations, but considering how the season started, it's incredible. June 8th, and they're on an 87 win pace. That's crazy to me. That they made up what they did in as quick of a fashion as they did, because you look at some of the other clubs across the sport, big market clubs that had slow starts, and guess what? They're still well under 500. I'm thinking about the New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox. to name two. The Baltimore Orioles, even, teams that had big expectations for this season. Detroit Tigers, maybe not a big market, but these teams are all still, well below 500, except for the Orioles. They're only a few games under, but you don't just snap your fingers and this thing gets solved. And the Phillies kind of did that. And we know, watching this team every day, that certainly not everything is solved, but it does feel like things have just, they have calmed down, and it does feel like a team that, is like almost well past the struggles that we saw in April. Doesn't it feel like that?
It does. And it's been nice to really put that in the rearview mirror. I certainly spent a lot of time, as the calendar turned over into May, thinking about, okay, when am I going to feel as though I understand what I'm watching with this team? When am I going to feel as though I can get a reasonable expectation of what I'm going to see on a given night? Because in April, it was all about allowing 3 or 4 blue pits a game and the offense not doing anything, and just the mystifying presence of that team during the now infamous 9-19 start. But yeah, here we are with this team, flawed as it is, and it is flawed, to be sure, but they now have a blueprint to winning most days. It's not what they did against the White Sox. I think that is the exception to the rule in this case. They are going to win a lot of close games. They are. They have 2 ace-level starting pitchers who are pitching, at the top of their game. They have 3 more, one who's squarely in the middle, and then 2 below him. And that's Jesus Luzardo. 2 below him who are enigmatic, to be the kindest, where the offense needs to pick them up. But they're not going to allow a whole lot of runs on the whole, because the bullpen has been excellent. They're not going to score a lot of runs. You've made this point a couple of times about how still 4 or maybe even 5 still qualified hitters have on-base percentages below 300 for this team.
Yes.
Right in that area. Like, it's that is
they're
what this team is.
They're on an 87 win pace, Paul, right now, and they still, they have a team 298 on base percentage. They have the 3rd worst OPS in baseball. I think using that and sort of like, we know that the offense is not that bad. It has definitely shown some signs, especially over the weekend, of being a more complete unit. But to take the recency bias away, just look at the numbers for what they are. An 87 win pace with one of the worst offenses in the sport.
Yep.
And do we think that offense is going to trend in a better direction as it's been? Yes. But just take it for what it is right now. And I think it's kind of, I don't even want to say impressive. I don't know if impressive is the right word.
I would say impressive. Yeah.
I guess it's impressive. I thought it was interesting. Like, I talked to Kyle Schwarber after the game Sunday, and, I always like Schwarber's perspective on this kind of stuff and, sort of the state of the team kind of thing. He's very good for that perspective. And I think his point essentially is that like, we are not even close to what we should be, and we weathered the storm. Mm-hmm. And our pitchers, did an unbelievable job of keeping us in these games for the last 3 weeks. Paul, as you noted, and thank you, the Phillies went 3 weeks without winning a game by more than 3 runs. That is insane. Yeah. And they were winning games.
They were.
It's not like they were on a losing streak. They went 10-7 in that 17-game stretch.
Right. Yeah.
Without winning a game by more than 3 runs. That is crazy. A lot of it was because of the pitching, but what Schwarber wanted to point out was that there was some timely hitting in there, and he's not wrong. To win close games, you do need some timely hitting, and they have had some of that, even though it hasn't necessarily felt that way all the time.
Yeah.
His point was being like, and he's kind of right. I think we lose sight of this. Is like, there's been times where, the other team has scored, and, Schwarber's saying, we've come right back and answered right back. And he's right. there have been times where the Phillies will give up a run or 2, or the game gets close, or it's tied again, and all of a sudden they take the lead again. That's how they've won those close games. Also, they have, one of the 2 best relievers in baseball, pitching the 9th inning for them. So
the answer back thing happened 3 times on Sunday. All 3 innings the White Sox scored. Yeah, they answered back.
Yeah, and Sunday was, the whole weekend was an example of really the offense finally, picking up the pitchers, because the pitchers have, especially the rotation, have really, carried the offense, lugged them along with them, in this run. And the rotation this weekend, 15 innings, 16 runs allowed. That's a 9.60 ERA, and the Phillies won the series.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly some concerns about Aaron Nolan and Andrew Painter, and if we have time, we'll get to that. I think those have been well documented, but this was a series this weekend, and you said, Paul, not a pushover. I mean, certainly the White Sox, I think, a little short pitching wise. Their lineup is
Plucky.
sneaky. Yeah. Is Sam Antonacci now my favorite guy in baseball? He might be. He's just very fun. I don't know. The White Sox themselves are fun. I hope that they go on a little run, and I hope they're in the playoff race because I think it'd be cool. It's a fan base that could use it. They're plucky. I don't know. And we didn't even get to see Murakami this weekend, which I wish we would have seen him. He's supposed to be back maybe in about a month. But they're fun. They're a tough matchup. I mean, they pretty much, they had a roster that kind of, you can mix and match, right, left and right, and it was not a great matchup for Aaron Nola. Turned out to be that way. It was not a great matchup for Andrew Painter. It turned out to be that way. But the offense, for once, finally, picked up the rotation.
Yes. I think that was the thing I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for that for a long time. Even as the rotation somewhat settled in, or at least formed itself around Chris Sanchez and Zack Wheeler, as the bullpen really held down a lot of these late close games. I was just waiting for more hitters than just Schwarber, Harper, or Marsh to really kind of start carrying this team a little bit more. It had come in fits and starts, but really there was none of this complete team effort that we saw multiple times from the lineup this past weekend. That was exactly what I've been looking at. I feel like I had gone so long since seeing that exact thing.
Because on Sunday, 7 different guys scored runs.
Yeah. And everybody except Schwarber and Garcia had hits. Schwarber reached twice on walks. There were, I'm looking at the box score right now, even Trey Turner, who, does continue to mystify a bit. He had 2 hits. The 2 through 5 spots in the lineup are 8 for 16.
Bohm's OPS. Bohm's OPS right now is 640 something. 641. It is the highest it's been since March 30th.
Yeah. He's really been trending better lately. He has.
Yeah, still not, some power here and there, but a lot of singles.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because now all of a sudden they've started to hit a few more doubles, as we noticed coming into, this homestand and this weekend. The extra base hit portion of the equation, the home runs were getting hit, mostly thanks to Kyle Schwarber, but the doubles had just kind of dried up. And when you need to rely on having 2, 3, 4 singles in an inning to score runs, if Schwarber isn't homering or somebody else is picking up the slack, that's not always a great formula for scoring runs in this pitching environment when hits are so hard to come by.
Sunday's win, the only home run was Rafael Marchand, right? Anyone else hit a home run?
Marsh,
right?
A home run off David Sandlin. Yeah. Brandon Marsh, who
right now, as we sit here, 17th in the majors in OPS.
That's remarkable. He's walking at like a 2% rate or whatever. Like he's only got an on-base 30
he leads the majors in batting average. So
yeah. Like that's not something I would have expected. Had another hit off a lefty on Sunday. Like he's.
They have 3 guys in the top 21 of OPS in Major League Baseball.
And those are the 3 guys who've been carrying the whole thing on offense for a while.
He's 5th in baseball, by the way, Schwarber in OPS. We know he's been good, but I mean, like it just still boggles my mind that Kyle Schwarber is that caliber of hitter. But
yeah,
do you know the guys ahead of him right now? You probably don't know this.
No,
it's Yordan Alvarez, Ben Rice, sure, a guy named Shohei Ohtani, and then Murakami.
Oh yeah,
and then it's Schwarber and James Wood right behind him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been top heavy, but I think this weekend you saw a little more from the other guys. And look, there's still ways to go. You mentioned Turner, you can mention Bryce and Stott, JT Realmuto, all of them, and Bohm. When I say Bohm's OPS is the highest it's been since March 30th, that's great. It's still only 640, but I mean, it's going to be a slow climb. I mean, that's the thing is like these guys dug themselves such a big hole that you you're going to have to, look at the overall numbers and be like, oh man, you think this guy has been good? And it's like, well, it's, you have to look at it in the last 3 weeks or month or whatever it is, but it has been better. As a team, they're now up to 298 on base percentage, which what did we say last pod? That if they're above, if it starts with a 3 by the end of the month, you're feeling a lot better. They might get there, next week.
They might. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
From small towns to big cities, Comcast is connecting millions of Americans to affordable, reliable, and secure Wi-Fi at prices that are clear and consistent with the new 5-year price guarantee. Backed by AI innovation, resilient design, and cybersecurity technology, the Comcast network is built to keep families and businesses connected and their data safe. Learn more about how Comcast is investing in a more connected America at ComcastCorporation.com/investment.
As a small business owner, sometimes it feels like no matter how much planning you do, there's always surprises, like an urgent, expensive repair. But here's the surprise you will like. With Progressive, small business owners save 13% on their commercial auto insurance when they pay in full. So enjoy a surprise for once. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Summer weekends are all about family, sunshine, and making memories together. Before everyone arrives, I stop by my local Total Wine & More to pick up a great bottle. Maybe a favorite we already love or something new to enjoy with dinner on the patio. Find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. Must be 21.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
I think really, if I'm trying to reframe the outlook I have for this team, and it's not a drastic reframing like I was going through in, May, trying to wrap my head around, okay, is this team really this bad? Are they rebounding? Like, are things actually stable? All of that is behind me now. That's in the rearview mirror. Now, instead, what I'm thinking of as this team jockeys for just an overall playoff spot, a wild card spot, is thinking about this team in that playoff context really helps soothe me. Now, they still actually have to get there in this. They still have to clinch the berth, all of that.
Playoffs. Should playoffs again?
Well, let's think about this here, because Aaron Nola did not look good again today. Andrew Painter, you mentioned, he's still straight. He doesn't have a fastball to work with. Those are two guys who are very important for getting this team through the regular season
to the playoffs, right?
Yes,
but in October,
once they get there,
important. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know how many innings they might pitch. It's probably a single digit.
In a wild card series, the answer is 0.
The answer is 0. Yes. They make one start a series, one of them in a game 4, potentially, something like that.
Yeah.
That is cart before the horse. Absolutely. But if you want to soothe yourself a little bit, when you see Nola struggle, when you see Painter struggle and try and figure it out here in his rookie season, yeah, it's not great. I would like for them to turn it around sooner than later. They are important for this regular season. But should the Phillies make the playoffs, they become less important. It's weird to say that about Aaron Nola, just because he's been around forever at this point, and he's been so dependable, and he has come through in big spots in the playoffs, even after, last year's rough ride. He ended on a high note against the Dodgers. He's been there. He can do it. Even if your confidence wavers a little bit. Anyway, yes, still way ahead of things. It makes me feel better.
Sure. Do you know who will be pitching for them in the playoffs if they get there?
Who's that?
Jhoan Duran.
Oh, that guy, that otherworldly hulking figure at the back end of the bullpen who's pitching out of his mind. Matt, you wrote about him over the weekend, and I'm glad you did, because you picked up on something with Duran that we've mentioned in passing before, but really deserved a little bit of a closer look. And that's how he is a backward pitcher in terms of his repertoire. Like, normally when you think of relievers, guys who get moved to the bullpen, maybe if they were converted starters at some point, and Duran did do some starting when he was a minor leaguer, normally you cut down on the number of offerings they have. Normally you cut down, just refine it to the best 2 or maybe 3 offerings if you're a reliever. But as you highlighted in your story, that is not the case here. And that's one of the things that makes him different.
I mean, he's a closer who throws 5 different pitches. And you could argue that at least 3 of them, maybe 4, are plus pitches. And I don't know, like, we really have never seen anything like this. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, build this up and be hyperbolic here, but I kind of at the Brandon Marsh approach where he was like asked about him and he's like, I'm at a loss for words. Like, cause there's nothing really, when you watch this guy, like the game, and it's not a guarantee. We saw it a couple weeks ago. He gave up a home run and the Phillies lost the game 1-0, but
right,
it's as close to a guarantee as there is in this sport right now. And to say that about the man who is closing games for the Philadelphia Phillies, it's sort of hard to wrap your head around, because this is obviously a franchise that, outside of Brad Lidge's miracle 2008 season, in which ended with a championship, you know, the Phillies haven't exactly been known for, you know, their shutdown bullpen and their shutdown closers. Right. It's just not something this organization has ever really had. You know, an entire generation of Phillies fans, you know, is haunted by the closer from 1993. Like, this guy Duran, I mean, he's amazing, and like, he's getting better, and like that, I think that is what really sticks out to me, is that he is getting better. His strikeout rate is way up, and I think, remember Paul, when they got him last July, and this is now, they've had him for almost about 10 months now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they got him last July, a lot of what you're talking about was like, wow, he's got this, you know, he throws really hard. Obviously, he's got this pitch type that is literally invented by him, I guess, the splinker. Yeah. But he didn't get as many strikeouts as we thought, like as you expected, right? It was a little more contact. Wasn't necessarily a strikeout guy. I see him as having evolved. Do you see the same thing?
Well, when the strikeout rate starts with a 4, you take notice. I have to agree with that. He's straight. You talk about him in the same breath as Mason Miller right now, because those two are it. They are the first 2 guys that come to my mind.
There's one other qualified reliever with a strikeout rate that starts with a 4. You're not going to get it.
Well, no, it's Eric Zabrowski, right?
How do you know that?
Cleveland, because we've talked about him before, like when the Cleveland series was coming around, like. But he's also walking a lot of guys.
He's walking a lot of guys. And guess who else is walking a lot of guys? Mason Miller. You know who's not walking a lot of guys outside of that quasi rehab outing that Duran had in the majors?
Yeah.
Jhoan Duran.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, his K minus walk ratio is just 1 percentage point worse than Miller's. And that's only because Miller strikes out half of the batters he faces.
Sure.
You know, Duran is only 43% strikeout rate.
43. It's such a crazy number.
I don't know. I think this guy, it's just, I know that it did not go great in Dodger Stadium last year. You know, bases loaded walk. You know, the only one he's had in his entire career, to Mookie Betts.
Of course.
And certainly, like, I think that is on, you know, I think Duran, that was in his head a lot during the offseason. But, you know, talking to him, I mean, he just seems so laser focused. He's so, like, he doesn't even think he's pitching his best right now. He's like, I'm still working on my arm angle. I'm still working on, like, you know, getting the right feel for some of my pitches. But, you know, he introduced this changeup that he used when he was back in the day, when he was a young minor league starter. And he's not afraid to throw it. He's not afraid. Honestly, when you go up there to hit against him, it's already very hard. It's even harder now because it's almost an impossible equation to solve, because he is crazy enough, he is confident enough to throw any pitch he has in any count to any side of the plate, any handed hitter. I don't know how you're supposed to go up there and have a plan against him, because you have to obviously respect 101 and 102, of course, you know, with the fastball, but he's a lunatic. He really is, because he's not afraid to be beaten by like his 3rd or 4th or 5th best pitch. And, you know, this guy's throwing like 15 to 20 pitches a night, and he's using all 5 pitches. It's insane. And to have that confidence and to have that caliber of stuff, and also just like the to be able to master the ability to throw those different pitches in high pressure moments. This guy has been everything, and I don't want to say he's the sole reason why they're 5 games over 500, but think about all these close games they've played that have been like sweat free in the 9th inning because this guy just comes in and dominates. It's totally changed the tenor, I think, of this season.
It is an unfamiliar feeling. Probably, I would say I have not had it since peak Brad Lidge, and who immediately in 2009 had one of the worst seasons you could have in as far as a closer goes. And so that was dashed fairly quickly. It's been 17 years. Because I don't know how much I want to count the John Papelbon years because they were sort of wasted, where I felt like a contending team had this ability to end games early. Because yes, Duran is a huge part. He's a massive part of that. He gives you an immense amount of confidence in 1 or 2 run game, whatever the case may be, going into a 9th inning. I feel at ease anytime. If you do manage to put a ball in play, it's on the ground against him, even still.
Yeah. Again, 5 straight games. He's retired all 15 guys he's faced. He has not allowed a base runner in his last 5 straight saves.
Yeah, so he's worked
5 saves.
Perfect game too. Like he's
through 5 with a perfect game.
He's doing the bulk of the work. He's getting some good help from the other guys lately too. I mean, Orion Kerkering has looked very good lately. The emergence of Chase Sugar, I think, needs to
he's a fine lower leverage guy. Yeah.
John Bolin had a really nice way. He ended the game very well today. 2 scoreless innings.
He did.
Back end.
That was a good outing. Yeah.
It's a little complete. It could probably use a little bit of bolstering, or at least
since May 1st, I don't know if I'm cherry picking dates here. I just picked that date out of the air.
Sure.
The Phillies bullpen has a 3.14 ERA.
Really good.
With 127 strikeouts and 32 walks in 106 innings.
That's really good. That's really good.
Really good.
That's a unit. That's a full team with a K to walk over 4. I mean, the walks are maybe a little higher than you want in 100 innings, but like whatever. That's a quibble. That's great. That's what you need. Good. You got to shorten these games, right? Especially if you're a team that's trying to buy time for 3/5 of your rotation to get themselves sorted out.
And your lineup.
Right. Yeah, right. And half the lineup, sure. It's almost... We talk about the, we mentioned 60% of the rotation and half the lineup.
Yeah. And again, they're still on an 87 win pace. Right. And I almost feel like you should remain skeptical about certain things. No question. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I think you should almost look at it as if like, I think this is how I land, is that like they have not played nearly their best, and they have proven to us that they can withstand quite a few body blows. They took some real punches here early in the season. It got the manager fired.
Yeah.
And they've taken some real tough punches, and they have so far responded, and they have done it still without giving us their best effort. We have not seen their best effort yet for a prolonged period, and they remain in playoff position on an 87 win pace. I don't know. I guess you should be bullish. And if anything, I mean, like they just played their last 5 series, Paul, against teams with winning records. And yes, you can have doubts about the Padres and the White Sox, but they played those 5 series, quite well. They came out, they didn't just survive them. I think they really, I thought they thrived in a lot of these series. And was it pretty the whole time? It certainly was not. It was not. But I mean, they've been winning, they've been winning games, and, they went 10-5 in those 5 series, 15 games against teams above 500. Honestly, you'll take it no matter how it looked, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Look, this is a league and a season in which, quote unquote, above 500, I think has a slightly different meaning than past years. Yeah. But all of that, just to acknowledge that, leaving that aside, you gotta fight through the morass in the middle of this league. to rise above and claim one of these playoff spots. Like, yeah, it's bunched in the middle and it's a little ugly, but you gotta you gotta position yourself and you gotta box out, to mix metaphors a bit, to get yourself above that crowd, because there is some separation and differentiation. And we're going to see that with the Brewers later in this road trip. The Brewers are one of these teams that is continuing to play really well. Again, I continue to not fully understand the Brewers, but I respect them.
Yeah, I've given up.
You know,
I mean, amazing. You look at the National League. Are you looking at the standings right now? Like I am.
I am actually.
I mean, there's only 6 teams in the NL right now that have positive run differentials. I think we were talking about this last time, but 3 of them are more than 100 runs better. Have scored more than 100 runs than they have allowed. The Braves, Dodgers, and Brewers. That's crazy. Look how top heavy that is right now.
Yeah,
I mean, wild. 2 of these teams that have positive run differentials are just +4, and by the end of tonight, we're taping Sunday night. Spoiler: the Cubs are playing right now. Maybe they won't have a positive run differential.
Yeah, they might not.
Game ends, so
that's right.
I don't know. What a weird. I feel like every episode we end near this where it's like, wow, the league. It's just like so weird right now. And I think it's still weird. Spoiler alert. I don't know.
I mean, the Phillies are a weird team in the midst of all of that, but they're finding ways to make it work. They are. I mean, they are now 25-11. 26-11. Pardon me. Since that infamous start, right? 35-30. They have moved into a more comfortable position in the wild card race, such as it is here in early June. Let the Braves do whatever they're going to do. That's fine. They can cruise if they want. Doesn't really matter at this point. The Phillies have gotten themselves into respectable territory again. And they are doing it by, thankfully, as this past weekend showed, playing more than one style of game. As much as it is their identity to win these close games, and it is, and they will continue to win close games as long as Jhoan Duran exists and is healthy. They at least showed recently that they can put a couple runs on the board too. And that has to feel good for the rest of that lineup, because so much of the onus was on the 3 guys who were producing in the top half of the lineup. And so much was riding on the pitching staff to carry this scuffling offense, to have to be near perfect every time out, to try and imitate Chris Sanchez. Chris Sanchez took that mandate very literally in the month of May and early June, to try and be so fine as to not allow 2 or 3 runs while this team was in the worst of it. So for them to feel like they could score this amount of runs, to feel like they could answer back when they gave up some runs, they gave up the lead or sacrificed that a couple of times on Sunday alone, it came right back, all 3 times. That has to feel good. And hopefully they keep that with them as they keep rolling on into this road trip.
So now the Blue Jays,
Toronto,
they won the American League last year. Remember that?
They did. They don't look like they're going to win the American League this year, at least not right now.
Old friend, almost Philly, Patrick Corbin, still a thing. 2026. He's starting the first game. You remember that? You remember that image?
I do. That and Manny Machado both on the scoreboard. Yeah, in 2019, 2018.
The real butterfly effect situation. If Patrick Corbin signs with the Phillies, they definitely don't sign Zack Wheeler.
From small towns to big cities, Comcast is connecting millions of Americans to affordable, reliable, and secure Wi-Fi at prices that are clear and consistent with the new 5-year price guarantee. Backed by AI innovation, resilient design, and cybersecurity technology, the Comcast network is built to keep families and businesses connected and their data safe. Learn more about how Comcast is investing in a more connected America at ComcastCorporation.com/investment.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.
Summer weekends are all about family, sunshine, and making memories together. Before everyone arrives, I stop by my local Total Wine & More to pick up a great bottle. Maybe a favorite we already love or something new to enjoy with dinner on the patio. Find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine & More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. Must be 21.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
That worked out.
I think that went okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Corbin has come back from the dead a bit. He was cooked at the end of his Washington tenure, and now he looks, removing himself from that element, he looks more respectable lately.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? An old friend, Jeff Hoffman.
Sadness. I'm bummed. I'm bummed.
Yeah, but look at his. Did you look at his season?
He's striking everybody out, but when he's not striking them out, he's giving up a home run. Or it's like it's a
lot of hits.
Yeah,
low FIP. His FIP is more than 3 runs lower than his ERA.
Yeah, rocking a 6.25 ERA and a FIP just a hair under 3, because he's got 47 strikeouts and 129 batters faced. But he got demoted from the closer's role, even though he's overwhelming guys with the strikeouts. Louis Varland has picked up for him and looked very good at that.
Really one of the best relievers in baseball.
Yeah, he's been racking up saves too, right alongside Duran. Jeff Hoffman got demoted from that role and is still trying to find himself, really. So that's sad.
Yeah, I mean it's a Blue Jays team that looks a lot like the one last year. They've struggled though. They don't have Bo Bichette, obviously. He's in New York. Their catcher Alejandro Kirk, he's been out for a while now, but yeah, a lot of those guys that people really got to know in the World Series around Ernie Clement. He's having a big year. Dalton Varsho has been fine. George Springer's struggled big time. Vladdy probably a little below where he should be. Only 3 home runs for Vladdy this year.
Yeah, in that Fernando Tatis mold. You know what I'm sad to be missing in Toronto? I'm sad the Phillies are missing Trey Savage.
Is he not going to pitch in this series?
He's not listed as a probable right now. It's Corbin, Dillon Cease, Max Scherzer, which back in that's what Fangraphs is showing me right now, at least for the Wednesday game, which 7 years ago would be a very, very formidable top 3.
Corbin, Cease, Scherzer,
it's a little bit different.
Cease has been on the IL too. Okay, well, I wonder if one of those guys doesn't come back this week. Interesting.
Maybe it's not updated. Well, spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, it might be, but they're both on those. Both Cease and Scherzer are currently on the IL. So, I mean, it is possible they're coming back. I haven't done enough research. I apologize.
Cease would be eligible to be activated during this series. He would be at 15 days since his last start. So there is that. I should have checked on this. Anyway, that's what Fangraphs tells me.
The Phillies will play the Blue Jays. Somebody will start for the Blue Jays.
Chris Sanchez gets the bookend position, which I'm now calling it that because I like this. I like with the 6-game swings with the first guy starting and ending these. Really, it's more like 7-day swings.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like you probably got to win the first series because it's Sanchez, Wheeler, and Luzardo in the Blue Jays series, and it'll be Painter, Nola, Sanchez in the Milwaukee series.
Yeah. They'll get a look at the Miz on Friday, probably. Should be interesting.
The Miz.
They
faced him last year, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Matt, I was asked this question earlier tonight here on Sunday. I was asked this by my friend Pat Gallen.
Nice flex.
Yeah, thank you. The All-Star game is about 5 weeks away. And right now, despite all of these things that we've talked about with this team, all of these things, gesticulates on the audio-only podcast, the Phillies potentially have 5 or 6 All-Stars if all things break even. They have Kyle Schwarber, who currently leads the major leagues in home runs. They have Bryce Harper, who's having a good year and carries the Bryce Harper name. That still carries some weight. They have the guy who's leading the league in average, Brandon Marsh. It's 3. You have Chris Sanchez and Zack Wheeler. Wheeler is a little late in coming, but he's been great. He could continue to build a resume. Sanchez is going to be there. Dave Roberts is managing this team, right? Because he won the National League, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. You better start.
And then, and then Jhoan Duran. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Duran's going to be
6.
Yeah.
My hottest take is that
it's crazy.
What are you going to ask me? Yeah. Are you going to ask me how many are they going to have?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you have to pick the All-Stars for Pat right now?
It was more of a rhetorical question. Yeah, it was more like a rough number. He sort of asked me, like, are they really going to have 5 or 6 All-Stars? And I'm like, well,
I've got one hot take for you.
Okay.
I don't think Marsh gets in unless he gets voted in.
Okay.
Because they're going to have the league and they're going to have too many Phillies to add.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't win the voting.
Okay. Oh, strategic. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I think Marsh probably has to get voted in to make the All-Star team, or maybe I could be way wrong here, and then he ends up just hitting, 350 in the first half, and he doesn't get voted in because he's not a big national name, but he still gets added on because how could you leave him off? Maybe.
We know there's going to be a slew of replacements. I think it's reasonable to consider he might be somewhere down the list. I don't know.
Yeah.
Name number 10 or 11 on the injury list, even if you deprioritize him. The way that works.
It could be 6.
Yeah. It could be, which is
it's going to be
strange.
3 to 4 at least.
Oh, bare minimum for sure.
What was the line I set before the season?
I do not remember.
3.5.
Over. Somehow,
it's a pretty good line though. It's a good line. It's going to be right there. It's probably going to be 4 guys.
Yeah,
it's probably what it'll be. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, I feel like 4 is a stone cold lock. But yeah, then it gets then it gets easy. So
I guess I'll be curious to see what the first voting. I don't know when they release the first voting update, but I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see where the Phillies kind of sit there. Like if Marsh does well to start, yes, he very well could be voted in for sure.
So I feel better about this team than I think I have at any point in the season. I think so. Coming off of this White Sox series. That's not to say I feel the way I did coming into the season, because I don't think that feeling is coming back. But I do feel more comfortable watching this team. I do feel like I understand what I'm getting myself into on a nightly basis more often than not. And I feel like it is now a formula that will turn itself into wins more often than not. It's a little House of Cards-ish. It does feel tenuous at times. Like maybe it can't quite hold up for another 100 games, but such as it is. With June coming, with June here, with temperatures warming up, I know the official start of summer is 2 weeks away, but it's felt like summer this weekend. Maybe this offensive awakening continues for a little bit. I don't know. I can talk myself into it.
I mean, it felt after the game Sunday in that clubhouse, like, it felt like they are past all the stuff that happened. It feels like they feel like they can weather. They have weathered, this period of just complete offensive ineptitude. And I think that they feel as though they've come out of it. I wouldn't say feeling fortunate, but knowing that, they've been given an opportunity here. Their pitching gave them an opportunity to not only stay in this thing, but to really, improve their standing without a competent offense. And I think that the feeling is, I think it's a warranted one, and I think it's a good one for them to have right now.
Yeah. So take that and run with it for as far as you'd like. The Phillies are 35-30 on the back of largely some really great pitching and a nice little offensive outburst over the weekend in taking 2 of 3 from the White Sox. Bigger tests remain, even though the Toronto Blue Jays are underachieving. They're not to be trifled with. 32-34 as they enter this home series with the Phillies. And then the NL Central leading Brewers, who always seem to be just winning. Talk about a team that doesn't really make sense to me. Like they just kind of do their thing. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes as the lineup gets to heat check itself against Jacob Mizorowski, which should be fun. We'll see how that goes. And that's that, right? It's another week. It's another chance for the Phillies to keep playing well on the road. They're 16-13 on the road. Thanks to this homestand, they're finally back over 500 at home. They're now 19-17. I feel good. I feel as good as I've felt in one of these right now. I'm not watching.
I think that's fair. I mean, I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
I'm glad to leave April behind me, much as the players I'm sure are. I am also glad to leave the feelings of April behind me because that was a cloud hanging over, watching this team in the throes of it, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Now that we're, 5 weeks away from that month, I feel a little bit more comfortable in feeling like this team is going to win, yes, but also just watching them and kind of understanding who they are in this strange league year, this strange 2026 offensive environment, such as it is.
Yeah. And I'll say once they get through this road trip, I'm not saying the schedule is easy. I think it is manageable. Okay, real quick before we end. These are the series they have before the All-Star break. Home against the Marlins, home against the Mets, at the Nats, at the Mets, home against the Pirates, at the Royals, at the Reds, at the Tigers.
That's a lot of Central Division.
It is. They have the little 10-dayer before the All-Star break just because they have to get out of Citizens Bank Park so they can get the place ready.
Yeah. That is...
Again, some tough tests in there, but not, no team that you're looking at and saying is, decidedly better than the Phillies, right? None of those teams.
No. I mean, the Mets will play them hard just because it's a division series.
Of course.
The Nats have an offense that can overcome their pitching. But everybody else in there, what do you make of the Pirates these days? They are curious on offense. I like some of their players, but they're an enigma day in, day out. The Royals are
probably
not
about a
good.
500 team. Yeah, the Royals are bad.
Yeah, the Royals are not good. The Reds can't hit, much like the Phillies. And the Tigers are swirling the drain. They're right down there in the basement with the Royals. They're not in a good way. They're going to get Tarek Skubal back, which is awesome for them and all of us, but they're just, they're not playing good ball. They're just not.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like until the break. So, and out of the break, of course, they have this homestand of Mets, Dodgers, Yankees.
Hello.
But that's a ways away.
So. Sure. We'll have a good idea of what their whole situation is, I think, by that point. And that's a good chance to pad the numbers a little bit, firm up their position, jockeying behind the Braves amid this dying middle class of the National League that is below the division leaders. The Phillies are part of it. They're in there. They're looking better. I'm feeling better. I like what I saw this past week. It was enjoyable to watch these games for the most part.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I am too. I was really going through it in late April and early May. I really was. I was having a hard time with this. I didn't want to grapple with the idea of this becoming a lost year or a lost summer of less than meaningful baseball. It really would have been a more profound shock to the system if that had continued. And we were still at this point with the Phillies multiple games under 500, or, if they were still in like fourth in the division, if they had found themselves behind Miami, if they were still struggling and had not emerged the way like some of those other teams with expectations you outlined a few minutes ago, if they had found themselves in that same boat, I'd still be going through it. And I didn't want to grapple with that because I want this window to continue. I want this Wheeler window that we've talked about in previous years to see itself through. I want to see this team.
We love alliteration.
We really do, don't we? I like coining.
I think at this point we can say, I don't know if you're going to like it, but you're going to be entertained this summer.
There we go. Yes. Perfect. And I think that sums it up beautifully. Much as the Phillies summed up their homestand going 5-1. It was good to see. And now they take their talents on the road, and we'll see how this little 6-game road trip goes. So hopefully you enjoyed your weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed the week of baseball ahead. Thank you very much for listening to Phillies Therapy, part of the Believe Podcast Network. If you want more, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Phillies Therapy. We've got a robust community that takes part in lively Discord chats every single day. Come join us. Come be part of it all. Be a true sicko. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I already did the sign off. I'm not going to do it again. Thank you. Talk to you again soon. Bye. Special thanks to the producer-level supporters of this episode of Phillies Therapy. Amy Z, Birche F, Brian H, Brian J, Brian L, Briana W, CallisonGhost, Christopher S, Daniel Y, MB, Hunter R, Ian, Jack S, Jacob T, Jaedon M, Jami P, Jason G, Joe M, John S, Kaitlin M, Kodi L, Lindsay, Lisa L, Matt H, Michael W.E.I., Michael W.E.R., Nate J, Nick F, Nolan R, Phil C, Robert K, Timothy G, Tom D, Tom H, Tyler R, Vinay V, Zack, and our anonymous supporters as well. Thank you all so much. To learn more about how you can be a supporter, go to patreon.com/PhilliesTherapy.
At Pepco, we know that rising energy costs are putting real pressure on families and businesses across D.C. Since we don't control most of your bill, we're focused on all we can do to help our customers. Providing assistance through our Customer Relief Fund, investing in reliability to reduce outages and costly repairs, and advocating for long-term solutions. That's how we're helping customers today and strengthening the system for tomorrow. Learn more at pepco.com/energy costs.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving and your wrenches turning. Join over 13,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain and the letter x.com/AI.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.